My name is Calliope, and I am going to be performing a thorough analysis of your personality, your character, your health, and maybe even perhaps a little bit of your fortune. So we are going to be doing a 3-part analysis. So we are going to start with the head here. We're going to start with your head and move to the face. And then we're going to look at your eyes. We're using quite a few different techniques to ascertain these little details. From time to time, I will be recording them here on my sheet. And other than that, do you have any questions for me at all before we begin? Yes, I haven't said exactly how we are going to be analyzing your personality and your health, things like that. We are going to be starting with a phrenological examination of the head. And the particular branch of phrenology we are concerned with is the Fowler branch. So, phrenology is the study of the bumps and valleys of the head in order to ferret out what sort of traits you are likely to have. So the Fowler type of phrenology is more concerned with your character and your personality. We're not trying to get any justification for why we should treat other people as less than, as earlier branches of phrenology were created for. But instead, we're looking at the more funsy stuff here. So I will be using this guide right here, created by Lorenzo Fowler, and we're going to look for things like constructiveness, or cautiousness, or dignity, and maybe we have perseverance right at the top of the head. From this point forward, I will need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Do I have your consent to do that? Wonderful, thank you. The phrenological examination. I'm just going to be breaking these up into our different parts here. So we are going to start right here in this area. We have different organs like order, neatness, time, individuality, comparison. So we are going to look right in here. So going to palpate around and assess the organs here. So we have 3 different kinds of development. We have well-developed or normal. We have overdeveloped, or we could consider that an excess. And we have underdeveloped, or we have a sort of lacking in a particular quality. So for example, let's see right here. So right here at the forehead, we have above the eye, we have more of an underdeveloped organ of time. Now, if I find a particular quality that is underdeveloped or overdeveloped that you don't quite appreciate, don't worry about that being set in stone. Everything can change, and really this is a guide to what you're predisposed to, and then you can work on those traits. You have a written log of everything you need to keep an eye on. Okay, so we are going to be coming more into the head and the hair. So I am going to just smooth things down a bit, and I want to be careful to not muss up the hair too much, and if I do, to smooth it back down. And just come in closer here. And I might need to move the hair around so that I can get a full contact with the pads of my fingers and your skull. So right in here we have a well-developed organ of hope, but we have an overdeveloped organ of wonder. Most organs are going to be well developed, but they are just as important to note as anything that might be over or underdeveloped. So, like right back here, we have our cautiousness, which is well developed. And then we have our sense of the terrific, which is also well developed, and grandeur right here. This one's a little under. Do let me know if at any point this feels too firm. Sometimes when I'm trying to trying to get a hold on an organ, I might have a bit more pressure than necessary. Just keep me in the loop there. But otherwise, I've heard this described like a sort of massage. Go. So we got a bit of the bulk of the hair out of the way there. And then I can come in behind. Good. And then next up, we are going to be switching from Phrenology, which has European and American roots. And then we will be using some techniques from Chinese physiognomy, something you might know more of as face reading. Now, there's certainly many types of face reading. You can see techniques from European schools of thought and Indian or Vedic as well. But we are specifically going to be using Chinese methods. Almost finished here. I'm just coming more towards the back where we have things like gregariousness and friendship, which it's a little overdeveloped there. So you might be making friends with people who don't deserve your company, that might take advantage of you. You might hold on to relationships a lot longer than you should, long after they've really given you any enjoyment, or long after they've wronged you quite a bit. So back here we also have things like love of home, and we have parental love, love of children, love of animals. Let's just put your hair back here. So I got these pieces there, and that's laying just right. Smooth everything out. The side. Now everything's smoothed back out. So, for the physiognomy reading, we are looking at health, character, and fortune primarily. So we have different areas, and we're only using a few techniques here. We could get into the 12 houses, we could get into the specific age points or the placement of moles on the face and how they correspond to your fortune character. but we are going to be more going area by area and reading these different parts of your face. So I like to just use a little guide here. I'm not going to be poking you or nothing, but just tracing around to keep my place. This one is going to involve some more notes, and if need be, I do have a little magnifying glass if I need to get a little more up close and personal. So we are going to start at the forehead here. So the forehead ideally is going to be free of blemishes and lines. If there are lines on the forehead here, the most ideal configuration is going to be 3 straight lines. But the forehead here is quite small. We're looking for any blemishes. We're looking for scarring at all. Looking at the texture, the shininess. Good. Let me just take a little peek here. Looking for the most minute details that might change our interpretation. Good, good. So we look at things like the hairline, for example, here, the shape of that. Good. So with the lack of wrinkles there, this is an indicator of fortune, of luck. Someone who is very easily helped by others, or others often help them. If you were to have quite a few, then this is an indicator of someone who is quite frustrated and will be dealing with quite a hard life where people don't often help them. There we go. And then with the eyebrows, these are concerned with the relationships with other people, siblings, friends, parents, as well as status and wealth here. So we're looking at the thickness, we're looking at the shape, the middle between the eyebrows here. Just gonna get up close here. Good. Taking a little peek. Everything here. And if someone, for example, has a brow that goes upward or ascending, then this is someone who often has good luck with money and jobs, but they might be bold to a fault. They might be confident to a fault as well. And someone who has straight or flat eyebrows, they are quite loyal, and they are stubborn, a little high conflict, but they are a very moral individual. They value morality. Now with the eyes are a great indicator of personality. The eyes are the windows to the soul, as people say. And we look at the different angles of the eyes. We look at the clarity of the sclera, of the iris and pupil here. Just noting the angles in the inner corners and the outer corners. The lids of the eyes here. Looking at the color. Good. So someone who has downturned eyes, for example, might be overly cautious, but that means that they're also quite observant and mindful. Someone who has more upturned eyes at the outer corners, they are opportunistic and bold, but in that they might be tactless or arrogant. And then the nose here. Take a look at the nose. We're looking at the bridge of the nose, the ball of the nose at the end here, the nares, sides of the nose, and the profile. How the nose looks lengthwise, shape-wise. Noses have quite a bit of personality. There are so many variations. Let me just take a little look here at some of our qualities up close. Good. And in profile here. Good. Here. Yes. So someone who has a wide nose bridge, for example, this is someone who is quite relentless in pursuing their goals. They are high energy, obviously, going along with that, and fearless. And someone who has quite a long nose is an independent thinker to a fault, but they are steadfast, and they are also generally quite lonely people, which kind of goes along with that. Independent thinker to a fault. And someone who has a hooked nose, or sort of a beaked nose, like an eagle nose, they are independent people as well, but instead of being stuck in their head like someone with the wide nose bridge, they're much more likely to be able to spring to action quite readily. They are also tough people and very creative. With the mouth here, we're looking at the shape and the lines as well on the lips. looking at the thickness and shape of each lip individually as well. And to look at the lines, just going to get in here close. So I need a little bit of light for that. Just a little. There. Sometimes it's hard to see the texture, but that's a little easier. Go. Good. Good. So those with a rounded mouth are quite easy to please, and they're very comfortable in the world and earnest. But that also means that they can be quite insecure and suspicious as well. But someone with a squared mouth, they are intelligent and curious and dedicated. Then we have the ears. So right in here, if you don't mind, I'd just like to tuck your hair behind your ears, then I can see them. Good. Looking at the thickness of the cartilage here, at the length of the whole ear, at the size of the lobes here. Ears are a good indicator of luck, of fortune. That's why the Buddha is shown with large ears, large earlobes. So those that do have those thicker ears, the thick cartilage, that is an indicator of luck and also people skills. Those people tend to be good entrepreneurs. Those with long earlobes are intelligent and strong. If they're close to the head, then that's someone who has good financial sense and often has people that help them quite often, quite readily. Then we have the cheeks. We're looking at the cheekbones are one of our more important landmarks to look at. And the skin here, the fullness of the cheekbone, or of the cheek rather. Looking at these and the lines on the cheeks around the mouth as well. The other side here. Good. And I just want to check the symmetry of the cheekbones here. Good, good. So uneven cheekbones would mean a sort of instability in all facets of life. And someone with very high cheekbones indicates arrogance. And when I was looking at the lines around the face, looking for sort of this clear, balanced sort of line. And that means that you are a decent person, a hardworking person, someone who has very long and deep lines they are very successful in their career, and they are generally a healthy person. And we have the chin and the jaw. We're looking at the shape and the length of the chin in particular. Looking at this little area and this shape right here. Good. Right in here. Okay. So someone who has a long chin is a devoted person who is patient and can be quite emotional. Someone who has a very rounded chin is quite lucky and will be blessed with romantic love. Someone who has a square chin is idealistic and strong, and they are deeply loyal to their family. Just flip over the page. We have one last area to look at, and this is the space between the nose and the lip. This is called the philtrum, right here. So we're looking at the angles. We're looking if it's straight or if it's more narrow at the top or the bottom, more wide at the top or bottom. If it's crooked, right in here. Looking at the width of it, at the depth. Good. So someone who has a long and deep space right here is kind, honest, and polite. If it's wide, this is an indicator of extra luck. And they would be earnest and well respected. If it's more narrow at the top and wider at the bottom, then this is a loyal, sincere person. And they are also very hardworking. Now, last but not least, we are going to be doing an iridological examination of the eyes. Iridology is more to indicate health. So, if we take a little look at my chart here, right in here, there we go. So we have the eyes, and we have the iris in the middle here, and all these little indicators, or all these little areas rather, indicate a specific area of the body. For example, we have the kidney right here, the liver, the lungs, ribs, thyroid. We have the tonsils and the larynx, and on this side the thyroid's right here. We have the shoulder, the neck, the cerebellum, the spleen. Because there are so many areas, I will be just keeping this up. So I am just going to have you look straight ahead at me. You can blink whenever you need to. And I'm going to have a little look. We will be bringing the magnifying glass and the light into play. So, you know how there are all these typically for people. That's kind of what we're looking at. Looking at the iris and looking for any blemishes or indicators that there might be some sort of weakness or deficiency or potential issue in a certain area based on our little map here. So for example, if I see something right here, so this is indicated, this little area right here is the neck. And I'll take another little look at anything that I sight without the magnifying glass and the light, just to make sure. So right there, that corresponds. Eye right there. And we even have some areas on the very outside to look at. But what I like about this particular part of the analysis is that I get to look at eyes very deeply. Very gorgeous. Right there. You can look at the other eye. So we have right around the iris all these little spokes and the border. So these are mirrored. And there are some areas on one eye that aren't on the other. So it's important to do a thorough look at both of them. It's interesting that we have a double indicator right there. Two of the same areas that indicate a potential problem. Right there as well. So I want to just have a little double check. I'm going to take a little look around with my light, and we're going to do a triple check really here, where I'm making sure that I did indeed see the correct thing, where we found a potential issue, and then we follow it up with the magnifying glass just to make sure, because this is really important. I wouldn't tell you something to watch out for unless I was trebly sure that it actually required some caution and some surveillance. Good. Yes, so with that light, that does look correct. And I'm also making sure that I didn't miss anything either. That's just as important, to make sure that what I see is truly there and to not miss anything either. Good. Very good. Yes, those do look correct. Excellent. So that is going to finish up our analysis. So we had done our phrenological examination with the head, the physiognomical with the face, and the iridological with the eyes. And I'm going to do just a quick write-up because my notes tend to be a little messy. Iridological. Good. That looks a lot nicer. So this, either you can have this raw copy, but I often do prefer to just type everything up and send it to you. That way, if you'd like to come back, I can save this one so that we can look at any particular changes and perhaps some things that you implement will show up in your reading. And then we can focus on other things that you might want to work with, you might want to tweak. Yeah, absolutely. So I will keep this. And would you mind just telling me the best email to reach you? Okay, excellent. So I should have that to you by the end of the business day. It won't take me but a few minutes. So I'd like to thank you so much for coming to my office for this in-depth analysis of your personality, your character, fortune, and health. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon.